Hi, I'm Dr. Rhema Zacariah, MD, a retired medical oncologist. I'm originally from India, now settled in Urbana for the last 5 years. Me and my wife, we both are physicians, and all my children, they are physicians. We are all settled here in this wonderful country, and we are citizens of this incredible country, and we bring to you this series of episodes relating to cancer. And today our topic is the impact of cancer diagnosis on the family. I have here with me Cathy, the volunteer, American Cancer Society volunteer. Now, Cathy.
Yes.
The ball is in your court.
Okay. Well, I want to introduce you, Tricia, who's been with us before, as you know, and is our survivor. And this is her husband, Jack. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Well, I wanted to start this off since we're discussing the impact of the family. What was going through your mind when Tricia came home that day with that diagnosis?
Well, just for the experience of it, it was more of a relief than anything that we knew what we were dealing with.
Oh,
It was
okay.
dread, but now it was out in the open. Now we can do something about it.
Interesting. Now, Tricia did share with us last week that she's not the first wife that you have who's had this diagnosis. Was it different hearing it a second time?
Well, the first time I lost my previous wife to brain cancer, she battled for 2 years, and I didn't have a clue as to what that entailed. And the silver lining in that was the fact that I had an idea what I could do for Trish.
Oh, yeah.
It prepared me to a degree, but I'll be honest with you, I was not prepared to what it devastated her.
Right.
Trish is, I refer to her as the mother duck. She leads, we follow. She organizes. She's a doer and a
Yeah,
giver.
That's that strong-willed part we talked about.
That's what we talked about last week. That's right.
So to see what she went through and how it affected her, you cannot prepare for that.
No,
Not for a loved one.
no. Did you do the same things for Tricia, or I guess have to do the same things for Tricia that you needed to do for your previous wife? I mean, I'm sure there were some comparisons like getting them ready, helping them get ready after treatment, or things like that, or was it completely different the second time around?
It was similar in a lot of respects as far as you had to be prepared to do whatever.
Okay.
You didn't know how she would feel one day to the next, how ill she would be, how strong she would feel, or what she was actually willing to be up to try.
And how did you feel like Jack did as your angel, as you've referred to him?
I said, through the whole thing, I just can't tell you how amazing he was. I said, he is such a natural caregiver. You know, he said he didn't have a clue, and I don't know, maybe it was by God's design that he had to go through it the first time to be able to do it the second time or something. I don't know.
Right.
But, I mean, he just seemed like such a natural. You know, he did everything.
Yeah.
Never batted an eye. And like I said, never complained, never looked at me funny. I mean, here I have, you know, scars from hip to hip,
Yes.
you know, from under your armpit, across your chest. I had 6 tubes hanging out of me at one time that he had to help, you know, drain and measure and things.
Yes.
Just things that I don't know that you would ask anybody to do,
Right.
especially somebody not in the medical field.
Right.
You know, and he just did it. He just went to all my appointments with me and listened and took notes, and we'd get home and he'd go, okay, now you got to do this, or I got to do this, or get ready for that, or, you know, whatever, and he just went with it.
That's amazing. Congratulations,
Oh,
Jack.
thank you.
It just seemed natural to
What
him.
was the length of time?
Well, from beginning to end,
Yes.
because she had multiple surgeries.
Still
Yes.
dealing with me.
Well, it's been, 16, 18 months total.
It was
16, 18 months.
Yeah, it was. It was the first surgery. like I said, our timeline was, found the lump in June. First surgery was the beginning of October.
Yes.
Second surgery was,
It doesn't matter, but
yeah,
in the
but I
sense-
mean,
But you had total of how many surgeries?
we had 4.
Yes, yes.
Including having the port put in, which was an outpatient thing, but it was still a day of surgery,
Right.
and
Right.
and that was all black and blue and
Yes,
all that
absolutely.
good
With
stuff.
the tubes hanging out,
Again,
draining.
yes.
And it is a challenge, to put it mildly. And well, you both went through it.
Yeah.
We did. And like I said, he had just a boatload because it went from both of us having very active careers
Yes.
and having a child in the house still, in his
Yes.
preteens. Jake was, Jake was 13.
Yes.
To, he did it all. I mean, I absolutely, for a good 6 weeks minimum from that I got out of the hospital, minimum before I could even, it was 6 weeks before I could even get up and down the stairs by myself. And let alone, I mean, it was all the cooking, all the laundry, house cleaning, making sure Jake was where he needed to be when he needed to be there, working his full-time job, which is a huge job in itself.
Yes.
I mean, he did it all. Made sure I had, when he couldn't be there, he made sure that I had somebody there with me. And I kept going, I'm fine, I'm fine. Again, that stubborn kind of independent thing. I'm fine. And he's going, no, you're not. I'm not leaving unless we have somebody here with you. So his sister would come, a friend of mine would come, my daughter-in-law would come.
Yes.
I mean, he would line it up to the times that he could not be there, that somebody was there to be with me.
Jack, this 18 months, at any time you thought of, what do you call that expression, throwing the towel or something?
Bailing,
Oh, no.
Throwing the towel in.
Yes.
throwing the
You know,
towel in.
You really just have to put yourself in their position.
Yes.
You're willing to do that for them, and she's willing to do it for me. I mean, that's for better or for worse, and
Yes. Perfect.
it got better.
Yes.
Yeah, we went through the really worst part. Now we're on the better part.
I was just going to say then, that's the next question. Do you feel like you're stronger as a unit than you were before the diagnosis?
Well, I'm going to tell him what he told me the other day.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, yeah.
Is that throughout your entire relationship, and you've probably done this with your husband, it changes. It always changes. Sometimes it changes for the better, sometimes it changes for the worse.
Yes.
But it always changes. And it's changed and it's changed and it's changed, and it will change again. That's what he told me. It
Yeah.
will change again.
Do you feel more,
So,
I guess where I was going with that was, do you feel like because you've been through hell and back, that it has made you stronger for the next time it's not so good?
I don't know that I've thought about the next time that it's not so good coming.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure it is because I've read the statistics.
Yes.
right.
So it's just a matter of time, whether it's 6 months, a year, 30 years, whatever. I mean, if you look at the statistics, the not so good is going to come again.
Absolutely. That's the one thing I could say about when my husband and I were going through it. We now, anytime something comes up that we feel, oh, here we go again, we can literally, one of us will step back and go, hey, you know what? We got this. We've already been through the worst. This can't be any worse than what we've already been through.
Yeah.
So I do feel like in some ways it is a pulling together that makes you stronger.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you what I saw him go through the first time with
Yes.
me.
Yes.
I know he's got my back.
Oh, absolutely.
I know he's not going to bail
Yes.
on me. And that's very comforting
Yes.
and reassuring to know that when we were down and dirty in the trenches, that he was right there with me every step of the way.
Yeah.
And to know that if I have to pay, or when I have to face it again,
You
he's
got-
going to be, yep,
He's got your back.
the big guy will be there.
Yeah.
And it can be the other way around too.
That's
If
right.
Jack
That's
has to
right.
go through it,
Yeah.
If
you would have a solid person as a partner.
Yeah.
But our prayer,
there for you.
our prayer did never happen.
That's right.
Yes, and to keep that happy smile, and that'll keep you healthy.
Yeah.
And all right, you did mention the last time that you wanted to do things for yourself, and you took the dog out.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that independent streak that I tell you guys about.
Tell us about.
Well, it happened to be in between a time that it was just a short period of time that I happened to be by myself in the house.
Yes.
And the dog wanted to go outside to do his business.
Yes.
And so I thought, I got this.
Yes.
I can do this.
Oh, yeah.
So I went and I let him out, and he's really usually very good about going out
And coming back.
right back in,
Yes.
you know. And if he wanders a little bit, if you holler at him, boom, he comes right back to the door. Well, he was sightseeing or something. I don't know, but he kept wandering. So he kept getting a little farther and a little farther, and he started to make me a little nervous.
Yes.
And so I thought, well, I'll just wander out there, and if I get close enough to him and give him a little holler, he'll come,
Yes.
you know, and run into the house. And so I started wandering out in the yard, and sure enough, I'm like, hey, let's get up here,
Yes.
you know, get to the house. Off he goes. Well, I turn around, and my energy was gone. It was gone. By the time I got back up to the sliding glass doors, I literally was on my hands and knees. I was just toast. I mean, I was in pain. It was cold out too. I remember it was cold. I wanted back in the house, you know. And by the time I got back up to the sliding glass doors, I literally was going through them on my hands and knees. And I thought, boy, I should have listened to him. I should have stayed in the house.
Yeah.
So from then on, when he said, you know,
Yes.
you need to have somebody with you, I was like, okay, that's fine. I can do that.
Yeah.
Yes. You
Oh.
would. Go ahead.
Okay. Jack, when you hear her tell these stories, what goes through your mind?
Yes. Yes.
I don't know
that's
that
what
he ever
I
heard
was
that
going
one.
to
I don't know
ask.
that I ever shared that one with him before because I knew he'd be really, really mad.
Well, like I said, she is independent. And it doesn't surprise me, but she also would know that I would be upset.
Yeah.
That didn't stop her, but but here again, you know, it's a lesson to be learned. She knows better the next time. She's cognizant of that fact. So
Yeah.
I usually have to learn it the hard way.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one. Well, now, you were saying you have one child left in the house.
We do.
How did he do
Yes.
with all of this going on?
You know, initially, well, what do you think?
I think he dealt with it as a typical teenager. Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. At first, I think he was upset, and he teared up a little bit when Jack and I,
Yes.
right after I told Jack, and we were sitting in the parlor,
Yes.
kind of talking. We were both obviously very emotional, and he came in the room, and we thought, well, you know, we might as well go ahead and fill him in. He
Right.
obviously knows something's wrong,
Right.
you know, and I think he got a little teary, but I think it was because he saw his dad so
Yes.
emotional.
Right.
Yes.
You know, it's hard for them to understand. Even we weren't even understanding the magnitude
Yes.
of it at
Yes.
that point.
True.
So I'm sure he wasn't.
It was his first experience with anything of that nature.
Yeah.
So it was new to him, and I don't think he really knew how to react. You know, as you see things progress, Trish was still vibrant and healthy in that respect. It was when she came home that I think it had more of the profound effect on it.
Yes.
Then he could visualize, and he could say, "Ugh, not so
And he
good."
was very good. I mean, he came when I was in the hospital for a full week after the surgery. He
Yes.
was up there several times. My neighbor
Yes.
lady brought him up there
Yes.
so that he could be there with the rest of the family and stuff. And so he came. I don't remember. The first couple days I was there, I really don't remember a lot, or it's just kind of patchy as to, you know, I think I saw Jake and Patty there, or I think I saw Brian or Ann, but I'm not really sure. Wasn't really sure.
Right.
you know. And so, like Jack said, then when I got home and it was the three of us, that's when I think it really sunk into to him
Yes.
Right.
that, whoa, this is a big deal.
Big
This is pretty serious, you know. But then again, at 13, 14 years old, he is,
Yes.
they're more concerned with what they have on their plate and their agenda.
Right.
And Dad was taking care of me,
Yes.
so he, you know, he'd pop in and chat with me every once in a while. Or,
But he was supportive and
Yeah.
positive.
Oh,
and
for sure.
whatever he could contribute without knowing what really is going on. But at the
Yeah.
same time, he was part of the support group.
Right. Well, and I think everybody that, you know, knows me or had come in contact with me, there was not a doubt in any of their minds that I was going to be fine. Now, because I was just so strong-willed and stuff. Now, in my mind, there was a couple times that I was like, oh, man, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
This is some serious stuff. I'm not feeling so good.
Yeah.
You know, but for everybody that, you know, and I've even said this to Jack before, he goes, but you're so strong. And it's like, but I don't want to be. I don't,
Oh, well, that's
I
it.
don't, yeah, I don't want to. And,
Yeah.
But then you do. You know, it says when you think you can't dig anymore, you just dig a little
Little deeper.
deeper.
Yeah.
That's right.
I have a medical question in terms of when at that time when you said it's little too much, was the pain or was the nausea or the throwing up or loss of control of function? What was it, or a combination of all this?
You know, I think it was a combination of all, but it was, my independence was gone. I had to totally 100% count on other people, and that was so brand new for me. I mean, I've always been stubborn and independent and bullheaded and, you know,
still is.
self-willed. And,
That didn't change.
We like the fact that it didn't change for her. Pat.
Yes.
yeah. But, I mean, I lost all that. I mean, talk about being vulnerable.
Oh, yes.
And seriously, 100% dependable on anybody that was anywhere near me.
Yes. And when it comes to the symptoms, which of the physical symptoms was you found most intolerable? Was it nausea?
Probably
or
nausea.
Nausea.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
sick. Make you
Because
sick.
I'll tell you, there was times that he wouldn't even come in the bathroom. He would stand at the door and say, "Are you all right?" You know, and you ever try to throw up and be quiet?
Oh, yeah, it doesn't work
You
so
know,
well.
because you know there are people in the other room.
It doesn't work so well. I think the more you try to be quiet, the louder it is.
I do, but you
So
know,
it was that
oh,
nausea. And
yeah, there was times that it was. I didn't think I was ever going to stop. You know,
And then she
it
had
would-
the scar tissue across her abdomen, and that hurt on top of that with the vomiting.
Yes,
So it's
because when you throw up, that hurt. That
Yeah.
pulls. All that muscle
Yeah.
pulls.
so it was
Yeah.
altogether big discomfort.
It was a big discomfort. And even today, Jack will tell you that he's afraid to like give me a hug a little, you know, a little too tight or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that because he's afraid he's going to hurt me just because he saw, you know, all the scars and everything. He's still kind of dealing
Yep.
with a little bit of that.
Yes. Since we are on the subject of the impact of cancer on the family, Jack and both you, Trish, would you tell us what was the impact on the other family members?
Well, more than anything, they were concerned about Trish and what they could do.
Yes.
Some of them, it was to the point where they wanted to help, but they didn't want to be a burden,
Yes.
you know. The others, like I said, we lined up help, a lot of volunteers, some friends from her work.
Yes.
Don't let this go to your head, but it was a bit of a standing line.
No, not at all.
I don't know why it would go to your head.
But her being the matriarch of the family and everything, everybody was concerned and wanted to do their part to make her better. So it helped me knowing that I had support.
Yes.
And it just, you know, on domino down the line, that, you know, there was a lot of us there.
Yeah.
She
So
just
it
didn't need to
fall
go through
on,
it.
yeah, so it didn't need to fall on one
No.
person's shoulders or a small group of shoulders.
No. And my granddaughters and my
Yes.
one grandson would come and they would bring me little color pictures, you know, that I could hang up and look at so I wouldn't
is
get
cute.
bored. And, you know, they would come and visit me, and they would very carefully, I don't want to hurt you, Nana.
Oh.
And they would give me just that little pat. You know, they wanted to give me a hug, but they were very, very careful about how they did it. Yeah.
So we had the ripple effect in the sense it's just starting from your nuclear family. Your friends and the family members all pulled together.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I had family, like my one daughter lives about 2 hours away. She lives down by St. Louis. Well, she was just, it was just eating her up that she couldn't get up here and take care of me. And my mom lives up by Detroit. You know,
I was going to ask how your mom dealt with it, since she was, as we both know as mothers, we want to, you know, protect our babies.
Yeah.
How did your mom do not being able to be here to protect her baby?
It drove her crazy. I mean, she was...
Many a long phone call.
Yes. And I'll tell you, talk about impact on people. My next door neighbor, the one that brought Jake up to the hospital, you know, repeatedly while I was in there, she told me, I had come over to visit, and I was telling her that my mom was wanting to come down. Well, my mom's not healthy enough to drive that far by herself. It's like a 6.5-hour drive. And she wasn't real up on taking the train. She was, because you have to change trains in Chicago, and anyway, and I was nervous about her even attempting to do something like that. So my next door neighbor says, "You want your mom here? I'll drive up and get her." And I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "I will drive up and get your mom and bring her back if that's what you want." I mean, that's the kind of people that I had around me.
That's amazing.
You know,
That's
and like
wonderful.
I said last week, you know, the girl from my work, you know, my work family, you know, she was bound and determined that she was going to come out and I was going to have a Christmas tree and I was going to have, you know, this or that and help me with my garden. I mean, people just come out and did things that
you just never expected.
No, and you were just in awe of them, that they were so unselfish and giving and caring. So the impact, yes, very ripple effect.
And Jack, I want you to tell those who are listening in terms of summarize, what would you like to share with them, that it is very tiring, it's time consuming, it's emotionally draining, but having gone through that, you both have not knitted and needed and knitted together stronger, and you love one another more and more. And this is not, we don't want anyone to have this experience, but if anyone has to, what would you tell them?
I think the biggest thing that I hold closest to my heart is that I'm going to do anything and everything in my power. I don't ever want to have a regret that I didn't do something that would make it better for her. I couldn't live with that. So, you know, no matter what the pretense is for what you have to do to help them get better, it's a small price to pay, because you have to live with yourself if they don't make it, which I had no regrets. Like I said, I had a silver lining come out of that I was able to come through for Trish. But you just got to give it everything you got, because they would do the same for you.
And you did everything, and you gave yourself, you pour yourself out. And that's amazing. You know, it is such an encouragement, such an example, and such a testimony. And Trish, you would be mightily happy to have a husband like this. And what's your reflection?
I'm just blessed. I don't know how I managed to snag a guy like this.
There you go.
But I sure am blessed, and I thank every day that he was with me, because if he wouldn't have been, I just don't know what I would have done. I would have been lost. I would have had my kids, but, you know, they care and they love me, but they had lives of their own.
Yes.
You know, they have kids of their own, they have jobs of their own.
Yes.
You know, and this guy, I'm actually in awe of him.
Yes, yes.
I am, the way he stood up and just took over, and because like I said, I'm the matriarch of the family. I really do. I mean, I'm on it. I've got everything lined out and under control, and you know, everybody else just kind of follows along. And then like that, I was down for the count, and he never missed a beat. Never missed a beat.
It's all in the training, isn't it?
That's right. She trained you well.
Yes, she did.
Now, Cathy, you
Yes.
have known both of them.
Yes.
And what are your observations on what they said and your personal observation?
Well, I think that I had no doubt in my mind that
Yes.
Jack would do exactly what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And Trisha is just the sweetest thing in the world. And I had no doubt that she was going to come flying through.
Oh, thank you.
You're so welcome.
Well, thank you for being with us and going through this amazing journey of both Trish and Jack and being part of that journey, and for Cathy for bringing all of us together. And till we meet you again, have a wonderful week.